straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, in cricket, all conversations in the country are only heading towards one thing: who should be on that flight that takes off and that takes the Indian squad to the T20 World Cup in just over a month now. And with experts weighing in on the opening combinations, the discussions and debates are only getting rather heated. Who should India's batting lineup open with at this T20 World Cup? We look at the options and who's backing whom. Also, Rafael Nadal announces his intentions of playing the Laver Cup in September. Roger Federer responds with excitement. Is this going to be Rafael Nadal's swan song, much like Federer's was in 2022? And Inter Milan comes roaring back to pocket Serie A. Is it the rise of the Milan clubs as they break the age-old dominance of Juventus? A heated face-off between Inter and AC Milan last night definitely signals so. But first, a look at all the headlines in Sports 360. We'll start with tennis. Reports claim that Novak Djokovic will not participate in the Madrid Open. It is believed that Djokovic has pulled out of the tournament. He isn't part of the main draw either. Djokovic will instead focus on the French Open in Paris to be held late next month. Djokovic has had a slow start to 2024, participated in 4 events and hasn't won any of them. Over in the NBA, Denver Nuggets shock Los Angeles Lakers in Western Conference first-round playoffs. Nuggets beat Lakers in a tightly fought 101-99 finish in their 10th straight win over the LA-based side. Nikola Jokic finished with 27 points, 20 rebounds and 10 assists for the Nuggets. Over in the women's chess candidates tournament, China's Tan Zhongyi won the tournament with 9 points. Zhongyi drew her final round against Anna Musikok. India's Koneru Humpy finished second after beating China's Li Tingji in the final round. Zhongyi will face Zhu Wenjun in the World Championship final. Over in golf, reports say Rory McIlroy is set to return to PGA Tour Policy Board. Former director Webb Simpson proposed McIlroy's name after he resigned. Board members Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth and Patrick Cantlay will vote to decide McIlroy's appointment. McIlroy was previously part of the board as player director but resigned from his role last November. And we'll finish with news from squash. India's Sourav Ganguly has announced his retirement from the professional circuit. He announced his decision via social media. Ganguly ended his 22-year-long career. He's had 3 Commonwealth Games medals and won 2 golds at the Hangzhou Asian Games last year. He remains the only Indian male athlete to have featured in the top 10 squash world rankings. Now, every match at the Indian T20 League just becomes another chapter in the race to the World Cup slots, another audition, if you want to call it that. Who will be picked for the T20 World Cup that is around the corner for India? The hottest debate right now is the batting lineup. Should India go ahead with the experienced one last time, or go for the kill, a revamped new-look squad, and pack in the promising youngsters? It's a debate that has takers for both these prospective solutions, and at the heart of this is, of course, the Indian superstar Virat Kohli. After a disappointing end to the 50-over World Cup in India, where the hosts faltered at the very last hurdle to Australia, there has been much chatter around whether Virat Kohli can really pull in another World Cup campaign, and a T20 one at that, because like it or not, the whole format has undergone a bit of a sea change. It's evolved. 200+ scores are now par. Look at Hyderabad franchise, who have the Travis Heads, Henrik Claessens and Abhishek Sharmas of the world. They're making T20 cricket look monstrous. It is not the sedate 150 scores that can get you going. No matter the bowling lineup, no matter having Jasprit Bumrah spearhead the attack, you'll need 4 more like him to defend a 150 score today. But let's get back to the biggest talking point now. The openers for India. Who should the openers be come the T20 World Cup? Now, India has explored quite a few options over the years, especially in the shortest format. The one constant, though, has been Rohit Sharma. The Indian batter has had a bit of a rough patch in the Indian Premier League over the last 3 years, yes, But the ODI World Cup last year changed all of that. He was the most impactful batter for India at the top, and that's what you need in this format. Someone who can go hammer and tongs from the very beginning. And though Mumbai has had a very shaky and rough season so far in the league, when it comes to their success as a team, Rohit Sharma, though, has had his moments with the bat. Smart cameos and a big one too somewhere in the middle. His experience and his striking skills are a great asset up top, especially in that opener slot. But here's where the twist comes in and a bit of confusion raises. There have been rumours, of course, of Virat Kohli possibly opening with Rohit. And there was some fuel to that, going by how he started off at the IPL this season. He had a few powerful knocks at the start, however, has not really set the stage on fire just yet. It also doesn't help that the team, Bengaluru, has also not been at its best. But one former India opener and captain and board president, Sourav Ganguly, has recently revealed that it would be best if India went ahead with the options of Rohit and Virat. You need experience at a world stage, and if Virat is in the side, he needs to open.
It's my personal opinion that Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma should open for India in the T20 World Cup. India needs to go out and hit. Rohit, Virat, Suryakumar Yadav, Shivam Dube, Hardik Pandya, etc. All of them are exceptional talents, and their six hitting abilities are tremendous.
Well, that's one option, but then of course there is the other. He's had a remarkable year across formats, but had a rather quiet IPL season to begin with until last night. The young Yashasvi Jaiswal struck a well-made and powerful 100 against a quality bowling attack of Mumbai in the Indian city of Jaipur last night. It was a masterful innings, and it gave everyone a reminder of just why Jaiswal fits in that opener slot.
Yashasvi Jaiswal's, I think, form will be watched, and he would be ideal with Rohit Sharma as the openers.
That's, of course, cricket expert Sanjay Manjrekar right here on our show, calling his options and his selection, what he feels should be India's opening pair. Now, I understand both these arguments actually, even though Virat's strike rate, often argued and put as a reason by experts, as seen in the numbers, are below par compared to what many opening batters strike at these days. There is some logic in opening with these two, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, and then, of course, packing in the middle and lower order with the big hitters. You need experience, and Virat Kohli under pressure is a stunning performer. You don't need any numbers to justify or explain that. The same who back this pair believe there is still time for Yashasvi Jaiswal to make it to a World Cup, to do much more for India as an opener. And this could very well be one of the last World Cups for both Rohit and Virat. But then, the other side comes in with cold, hard logic too. Jaiswal is the future. He's a lean, mean machine at the top of an order, especially in T20, and he is in fine form. If the idea is to put forth a winning combination, a combination that you know will do well at the World Cup, you need to go with who you believe will create maximum impact. And if it's at the opener slot as well. Jaiswal too, post the match last night, said he has learned a lot of batting and how to grow as an opening bat alongside Rohit Sharma. So not a newbie here. There is a very mature head on those young shoulders. And look, it is a very good debate before the World Cup. The selectors have quite the decision to make, but not much time left to make it in. All good things come to an end. As gloomy as that sounds, it is true, and more so in sports. It's called retirement, putting an end to something you've lived by all your life and enjoyed. And while as a profession otherwise, there is a set age for retirement, in sports, it's a decision you need to make based on how your body is holding up and how willing the mind is to fuel the body. No one feels this more right now than Rafael Nadal. No, he hasn't announced his retirement just yet, but for all Rafa fans, this year has been heartbreaking. The stop and starts, entering a tournament only to withdraw, or then coming right back and losing in round 1 or round 2, not a Rafa thing to do. This year has definitely been an anomaly. So given the constant tussle he's undergoing with his body that has been ravaged with years of injuries, the time when he does decide to hang up the boots doesn't look that far away. It's a very logical surmise here. The rigors of tennis, much like many other physically challenging sporting disciplines the world over, has only intensified. The game has evolved. It is more sapping, fast-paced. The younger generation is snapping at the heels of the seniors. There is no place to hide, and more so for Rafael Nadal. So what would be Rafa's swan song? In the latest update, Nadal and his team announced that the Spaniard is set to feature at the Laver Cup in September this year. Laver Cup is a tournament that puts the best of Europe against the best from the rest of the world. And Nadal will play for Team Europe at the tournament. The Spaniard will join a star-studded lineup for the 3-day event against Team World, and it's scheduled to take place in Berlin. And guess what? Laver Cup has been special. This is where Roger Federer played his last. The year was 2022, and Federer bid farewell to the sport right there alongside his buddies and, of course, someone he's become great friends with over time, his biggest rival, Rafael Nadal. Visuals of the two playing doubles together in 2022 and, of course, Federer and Rafael Nadal breaking into tears at the end of it all was the most poignant and striking image that came out of that farewell. Two legends in tears of not being able to contest fiercely opposite each other anymore. A sight that made every tennis fan rather emotional, and that is the scene that Rafael Nadal will be returning to after a 2-year gap.
I have some really special memories from my Laver Cup experiences, including all the emotions from London 2 years ago, playing alongside Roger for the last time. At this stage in my career, I really want to go out there and make the most of every opportunity I'm given. I'm looking forward to going to Berlin and helping Team Europe win back the Laver Cup.
That's how iconic the moment was at Laver Cup 2 years ago, something Rafael Nadal clearly remembers and looks back at fondly. And after Nadal confirmed his presence across social media, Roger Federer reacted to it. The former world number one showed his excitement. In a story, Federer captioned, "Vamos, Rafa." Federer even mentioned the places Nadal has featured in the Laver Cup. So it's all building up to another emotional episode, and not just Rafael Nadal's career, but also another episode in the Federer chapter, Federer and Nadal. Add to the fact that Rafael Nadal himself indicated earlier that this year could be his last. And what better way than retiring at the same tournament where his biggest rival and friend Roger Federer also said bye-bye.
There's every chance that it's going to be my last year, and I'm going to enjoy the tournament in that way. I don't want to announce it because in the end, I don't know what can happen, and I have to give myself the opportunity not to say one thing and then I'll be a slave to what I said.
Of course, this is what Rafael Nadal said in 2023, but a lot has changed since then. Ever since his surgery, Nadal has been trying to get back to where he was at his very best when he left the sport, but it has been a very, very difficult road so far. Nadal has played only 2 tournaments in this year. He started the season by making his comeback at the Brisbane International. Everyone was waiting to see the Spaniard in full flow, but he only managed to get as far as the quarterfinals. He then came out and announced that he would pull out of the Australian Open. He even withdrew from the Monte Carlo Masters later. The only other match he indulged in was that exhibition game against Carlos Alcaraz, fellow Spaniard, that he lost in. Recently, Nadal made a comeback at the Barcelona Open, which ended in a round 2 to Alex de Minaur. It was again a very sentimental, emotional exit. His family was there too, applauding the effort. And yes, clay season is always that much more sentimental than any other surface. Understandably, as he was king of this surface, practically grew up on clay and mastered this surface like none other. Nadal also stated thereafter that he is intent on participating at the French Open. And in the quest to making a strong comeback, the Spaniard will feature at the Madrid Open starting soon. So clearly, this man's focus is to make a strong comeback at the Grand Slam that he has conquered, at the Slam and the city he's had great memories in. French Open and Nadal are synonymous, and no one else would want that to have a fairy tale end than Rafael Nadal himself. But his announcement of the Laver Cup in September is urging the Federer-Nadal combo fan in me to obviously connect all the dots. Nothing would be more of a tearjerker than a farewell at Laver Cup in true Federer style. Now, our story today is about rivalry, a rivalry that has gone on for 116 years, more than a century of an emotional roller coaster ride. The story is about Derby della Madonnina, one of the most historic football rivalries between 2 Milan clubs, Inter Milan and AC Milan. The period between 2010 and 2020 was, of course, disappointing, with the 2 Italian giants literally falling off the grid. But in the past 4 years, They are proving to be testament to the rise of two giants that were in slumber. The latest chapter, a Serie A clash, ended Juventus' decade-long dominance in Italy. A match that saw 3 red cards, feisty display and the hunger to be the best, with Inter snuffing out Milan. AC Milan's defeat meant Inter were crowned champions of Italy despite 5 games still left in the season. Their 20th Serie A title, one more than AC Milan. Is this the rise of the two Milan giants once again?
Derby della Madonnina, a footballing spectacle between the two prominent Milanese clubs, Inter Milan and AC Milan. A name kept to honour a key landmark in the city of Milan, the statue of the Virgin Mary, which is on top of Milan Cathedral. The rivalry holds a historic significance in the sport, not just in Milan or Italy, but across the globe. A fierce battle is always on the cards when the two sides meet. AC Milan took on Inter Milan in their second face-off this season. A lot was at stake. Inter Milan went into the game with the hopes of clinching the Serie A title, and standing in their way were their biggest rivals, AC Milan. A gutsy fight was on the cards, and the massive derby lived up to its expectations. The scoreline says 2-1 in Inter's favour, but it doesn't do justice to what really transpired. The match featured 3 red cards in stoppage time. AC Milan were reduced to 9 men as tensions rose. A game that saw heated exchanges from the start. Both sides were pushing each other and shouting. It was a very physical game that only became more raucous in stoppage time. But despite AC Milan's fighting display, Inter closed out the game. And with a 17-point advantage over second-placed AC Milan, Inter were crowned champions of Italy, their 20th Serie A title. A packed San Siro erupted in joy. Inter fans went berserk. Fireworks were seen across the city, and it was a monumental win, their 20th title, one more than their city rivals, AC Milan. A moment of supremacy for Inter fans, and they made sure AC Milan supporters were made aware. Thousands of Inter fans took to Milan Cathedral as the shades of blue and black, Inter Milan's jersey colours, engulfed the city. The crazy thing about Inter and AC Milan is that there could have been a world where Inter Milan really didn't exist. AC Milan was founded in 1899, and after a dispute broke out within the club, a certain section of the management chose to leave. They got together, and hence in 1908 came a new club called Inter Milan, the biggest reason behind the brutal rivalry between the two clubs. And ever since then, both teams have been consistently battling for trophies, and surprisingly, very little has separated them so far. In 310 meetings across all competitions, the two have won 115 occasions each. It's incredible. And in 80 matches, points have been shared. Given that the overall head-to-head is balanced, a supremacy in the trophies department is the only factor separating the two clubs. Inter now have the edge in Serie A with 20 titles to that of AC Milan's 19. But in Europe, AC Milan have won 7 Champions League titles to that of Inter's 3. But collectively, it seems like the Milan resurgence is underway. It all started with Inter Milan ending Juventus' decade-long dominance in 2021. A year later, AC Milan won their first Serie A title in 10 years. So clearly, the Milan clubs have initiated their rise particularly over the last 4 years. They made the most of Juventus going through a rough transition. Juventus, after the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo in 2021, have found themselves out of touch. They find themselves going through financial troubles. Juventus were hit by an accounting scandal over player trading and salary payments in 2022. They have suffered losses of over $750 million in the past 6 years. While Juventus was being crippled by its financial irregularities and betting scandals, the Milan clubs have been trying to regain lost ground. The two clubs, AC Milan and Inter Milan, are making the most of Juventus's woes. With Juventus out of the way, Inter and AC are fighting for the trophies. And it's a win-win, with fans lapping up the return of the epic clashes of the past.
Time for Last Serve. Last night, all top athletes from around the sporting world gathered in Madrid for the Laureus World Sports Awards. Dressed in sharp attires, they dazzle the red carpet. Novak Djokovic and Aitana Bonmatí won top honours. Here are snapshots of that night.
To thank all my teammates, staff.
Thank you.
You have to hold it,
He's
right?
kept it for another year.
I want to thank the Academy so much for this prestigious award.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It seems surreal that I'm receiving this award from you. You've been my sporting hero and also a great friend.
Well, that does it here on First Sports. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.